It's gonna be bad, my nigga.
Recently went viral for threatening to fight a police officer.
No, that's not why he
went
went
at an airport.
That's not why he went viral.
Come on, get a couple of. Cause it's gonna be bad, bro.
It's gonna be bad, my nigga.
No, bro.
Brutally honest about something most fighters refuse to talk about: the psychological damage that comes from spending your entire adult life preparing to kill or be killed in front of millions of people. Fighters' brains are being scrambled from taking blows to the head. Their bodies are being destroyed by severely dehydrating them. They cope with the pain with substance abuse, and as crazy as it sounds, walking away from fighting is actually harder than stepping into the cage.
I'm a lot of things,
right.
But like a person like Dustin was almost touched the gold like 3 times. He fought for the UFC title and lost all 3. That definitely
fighting was
that definitely will fuck with you, especially if you go on like
20 years
crazy tears and
now
you just
I wake
can't
up and
pull the trigger.
It's gone. Like what do I do?
In the biggest
I'm still
fights.
trying to find out, Joe. I don't know.
In hindsight, the airport incident wasn't the shocking part. It's how many warning signs we overlooked before it happened. Many people questioned if Dustin the Diamond Poirier was talented enough to have a successful career in mixed martial arts, particularly when he lost his lightweight debut in the WEC against Danny Castillo.
That's
Competing
crazy.
in
I
his
never
home
even
state
knew
of
he lost his
Louisiana,
first fight.
Dustin had dangerous knockout power like a boxer, but people doubted whether his technical limitations would prevent him from ever becoming a champion. If he could catch you with his left hand, like in his fight with Zachary Mickelwright, he looked like a pro. But against the Korean Zombie, he looked like he was always going to get destroyed by proficient
I didn't even know he got
grapplers. And from the
submitted
very
by
beginning,
Koreans.
you could tell that Dustin had a deeply emotional relationship with fighting.
He's a warrior, and I'm sure whoever he fights next, he's going to put on a good show. But, I was supposed to win tonight. I trained hard. I owed it to my wife and to myself. And, it's a big hit to me, man. Like, this is my life,
And you weren't gonna tap, man. You're just gonna go get put out. You were like,
I don't know. I felt it closing, and then he just kind of stopped it. I don't think I was out.
And in round 2, you do. I think so, yeah. and what's it look like?
You see, Dustin wasn't just a guy who discovered he could throw some punches. Fighting was a necessary defense mechanism in the neighborhood he grew up in.
One day, man, he must have been just like 10 years old, and he'd gotten in trouble at school. He had a note. He got off the school bus.
If you've seen
and he ran in the house. He said, "Here's
King Green talk about it. He grew up around some real
something at school. Give me a whipping,
especially being white,
because I think somebody's ready to fight me down the road." They'd get these boxing matches going on in the neighborhood, and Dustin did that, and he was the best out of all the little kids, the little guys that boxed. And then there was this one guy that came to meet him at his grandma's and said, "Well, you haven't boxed me yet." And Dustin knocked out his teeth and broke his jaw, and he was like 5 years older than Dustin. And we had to go to court for that.
But brawling in the streets
what
will
the fuck?
only
He
lead
snitched?
to jail,
How you gonna pull up
serious
to their
injury,
crib
or
say, "Yo, I want
death.
to box you"?
MMA was the
Get your
only
ass
thing
whooped,
that could
and
save
then you
him
go-
from himself.
I was really, nervous when I got into the UFC, and it was
Why
hard
they
for me.
change it? Yo, Patrick, why you changing his voice like
I was
that?
just
bro?
nervous, and I think I'm
it
coming
copyright
into my
issues?
own in the
Not trying to
UFC.
get
I feel
copyrighted?
comfortable here. I feel like I belong here. When I'm in the locker room warming up, when I walk to the cage, when I step in there, I feel like it's mine. I'm here for a reason. So I think that's why my last 2 fights have been finishes. My whole outlook on life has changed because of MMA. I've traveled the world, I've met people, had experiences, and this is all because of mixed martial arts.
And after every victory, he'd be brought to tears. He said, "I care so much that I make it to be life or death. Every decision in training camp, every decision in the fight. Leading up to the fight, I make it so huge in my mind, but it's just another fight. I compete every day, so it should be no problem to go out there and perform. I fight every day, so it really showed me and helped me."
He's finally found what he's been looking for all of this time. I know that he has been waiting his whole life to climb up something and put his hands in the air, because he did it the best.
With no exaggeration at all, fighting was Dustin's entire identity. But luckily, he had his wife and high school sweetheart, Jolie, who was ride or die from day one.
wife.
I had a girl I loved and she loved me,
Every single
and
time
I
I
had
see
somewhere
him.
to be. So I feel like having that to
Your
come home
wife
to,
sent me
and a reason to be
DM.
home every night, but also her belief, because a lot of times I didn't believe in myself. She believed in me so much that it was hard to quit on myself whenever she thinks I can do whatever I want. Dustin's emotional attachment to the sport is what made him a fan favorite and an underdog. He wasn't wasn't flashy, he wasn't much of a trash talker, just a genuine dude who loved the sport just as much as the fans. Add on the fact that he was devotedly faithful to his wife, and he became deeply relatable to his supporters. But beneath all of that were the early warning signs of someone who had built his entire identity around surviving the most dangerous sport on earth. Because when your life revolves around chasing violence, enduring unimaginable physical pain, and experiencing emotional highs that almost nobody else...
Why Dana looks sad? What fight is this? Why does he look sad? Is that Max Holloway? That's probably when he fought Max
will
the
ever
first time.
understand. Eventually, ordinary life starts to feel meaningless. But real quick, if you've ever been lost abroad, difference numbers. One these days, number 9% gap involving some great money.com/PatrickCC. Coming into 2014, Poirier was evolving into a much more well-rounded fighter. He beat AfroKage in an evenly matched bout, showing some great defensive ground game, and then delivered a brutal first-round knockout against Diego Brandao. And although he took a tough loss against Cub Swanson, he bounced back with a second-round TKO against Akira Khorasani. Every time it looked like Poirier was about to be knocked down for good, he'd always find a way to fight his way back in. And that's because he made his way into a circle of elite coaches and training partners from American Top Team. Poirier stated, "When I was the big fish, I was making it up as I went, kind of. I think I was overtraining a lot. I might still have a small problem with wanting to do more than I should, but watching these guys put in the work, take the nights they need off, and training smart, those are the big things I've been learning training alongside these guys. This is home away from home now. I really feel like I'm in a good place here." And even though he was refining his strengths as a striker and honing in on his Brazilian jiu-jitsu defenses to contend with expert ground fighters, he was going to need a whole new set of skills to handle Conor McGregor's mental warfare.
Kept talking more and more hype, and I saw an opportunity here.
I gotta finish my
maybe headline a card or be on a big pay-per-view. I don't know where he's going to go after this. You know, I believe his career is deteriorating. His skill level has stagnated. Personally, I don't think he wants to fight. I get the same vibe off of him as I got off of Cole. You know, to tell you the honest truth, I don't think a guy from Ireland gets to this level and gets this much hype about him by accident, but now he's gotten himself into a serious situation September 27th.
2014 Conor was loud, arrogant, charismatic, and exceptional at getting inside his opponents' heads. Dustin was the quieter, humble, likable fighter who wasn't equipped to play that psychological...
I'm not saying to say Conor got me into this shit, bro. He was just everything that you want an organization.
If you look closely at his eyes, they're offline to where I am.
My favorite part is when somebody made the Interstellar fucking music.
His emotions are clouding his reaction, so his eyes couldn't track me. The same way it's going to be.
I think I used that.
When I shuffle in there and make them little sharp turns, his eyes won't be able to follow my movement. That's when the shot will hit him. That's when he'll go stiff.
It is. It's personal and it's business. It's a grudge match. I don't like this guy, you know, and it sounds like he doesn't like me, obviously.
I don't dislike him and I don't like him. I don't anything him. For me, he does not exist.
Well, we're gonna go in there and see who's a better fighter. You know, that's what it comes down to. It's fun. It's the first time I've ever fought somebody talking like this, so it makes it a little exciting for me, but it's also aggravating because I have to keep hearing it over and over and over again.
I believe he has a P-shaped head. If you look at his head, it's shaped like a P. It's a weird-looking head.
I've never disliked somebody that much that I've ever fought.
But it's all friendly games to me at the end of the day. Unfortunately, he can't take that.
Unfortunately for Dustin, Conor's mind games were much more effective than anything he threw back in return. Dustin looked terrible in the ring. Conor landing massive left hands, breaking through Dustin's guard, which ultimately ended in a TKO victory in just 1 minute and 46 seconds. Tweeted, "Live by the sword, die by the sword. I'm truly heartbroken." Fighting Pete Conor McGregor was a massive opportunity for Dustin, but unfortunately getting mauled made many believe he wasn't ready to be a top contender. But in reality, there was another factor that was consuming his mind and body, which made it difficult for him to perform, which was the extreme weight cuts he was enduring. Poirier consistently cut his weight down to 145 pounds to compete in the featherweight division. Weight classes exist for a simple reason: to keep larger fighters from having an unfair size and power advantage over smaller fighters. But over time, fighters discovered a little loophole. They would dehydrate their bodies to lose as much weight as possible to make the official weigh-in, then spend the next 24 hours eating and rehydrating before before the fight.
Yeah,
so while
Patty's the
Dustin
perfect guy to
officially weighed
show,
145 pounds on
That's how I know
Friday,
you
by
watch
the
this
time he
shit.
stepped into the cage on Saturday, he could be 15, 20, 30 pounds heavier. The problem with this was his natural body weight was around 190 pounds, so he would lose nearly 50 pounds in the matter of weeks.
I would walk around 190.
Thanks.
I'd get up to 190.
Oh my God, you get up to 190 and go down to 145. 45 pounds?
Dude, let me tell you this. When I fought Cub Swanson in London, England, I took it on short notice, and it was right around Christmas, so I was eating, and when they called me, they asked me my weight, and I told them, 170, but I was like 187 or something. And it was like really short notice. So me and my team fly out there. I'm 30 pounds over when we land. They check your weight fight week when you show up to make sure. I was 176, and it was a 45.
How the did you make that?
I don't know. Almost died. I feel like weigh-ins were kind of blurry. I don't like my memory's gone from weigh-ins.
Jesus Christ.
It's not good for you.
The lasting effects of cutting weight can destroy a person's day-to-day life or even kill them. The primary tactic to lose weight is severe dehydration, which goes against everything this channel stands for. Drink water. The cutting kills short-term memory, concentration, and even self-esteem, which triggers depressive episodes. Not only that, but it limits the fighter's ability to recover from any hits they receive in the middle of the octagon. Recovery from concussions and muscle damage is either slowed or completely compromised during and after a state of cutting, in addition to serious cardiovascular distress. You can see countless fighters heading to weigh-ins looking weak, emaciated, and looking like the furthest thing from a warrior ready for battle. It's insane that 24 hours later they will be brawling another beast. And as if the weight cut wasn't crazy enough, they're getting kicked, punched, and choked while the body is trying to recover. The damage can likely leave them confused and suffering from disorientation for the rest of their lives. Even MMA trainers and nutritionists like Mike Dolce have expressed how this isn't normal and has created a dangerous standard for everyone involved.
From the reduction in water weight through dehydration, that can take up to 48 hours, a minimum of 48 hours to fully replenish itself. Now, the average UFC middleweight typically walks around about 210 pounds, and they have to weigh in at 186. So it's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous, and done the wrong way, it can be deadly. It truly can, and there will be lifelong repercussions as a result of a career spent cutting weight the wrong way.
Dustin decided to move up to the 155-pound lightweight division, so he didn't have to cut as much weight.
They did you dirty with this one, Dustin. Well, what are you doing here, bro?
And from there, he started building back his contender status. He went on a 4-fight win streak against unranked and lower-ranked fighters.
King Green, his name is now changed. Joe Duff killed him. You know, nobody knows about that guy. Okay,
but then got brutally knocked out in the first round by an unsuspecting Michael Johnson.
Just disappointed in myself, upset with myself for making dumb mistakes and getting so emotional, and life goes on, man.
Going on winning streaks followed by devastating losses were starting to destroy him mentally. After Conor McGregor won the mental battle over him, it changed Dustin. He wanted to destroy his opponents and laugh in their faces, and he knew he needed to control his mind better in the future.
I need to respect everybody's punching power and not get so emotional in fights. It's cost me every fight that I've ever really wanted to hurt the guy and felt that, you know, anger. I've made huge mistakes. So just take a step back and use my skill, man. I've been doing this a long time.
But this time, he would actually take his own advice. He beat the veteran Jim Miller, then the former lightweight and welterweight champion Anthony Pettis, showing massive improvements in grappling with a tight triangle that broke one of Anthony's ribs. But what really solidified his top dog status was his 2018 fight with Justin Gaethje. The man had a rock-solid chin, and his strikes carried a weight that were far more devastating than Conor's. The fight was absolutely brutal, lasting 4 rounds, and Dustin took a nasty shot to the eye, only to recover and use his now legendary striking power to take the win.
I knew that was going to be key. I knew focus was going to be key. I knew I was the better fighter, you know. I knew I had the better skill, but I knew deep down I would have to pull out the will to get this win.
That's crazy.
And I think that's what it was.
Like
I said at the beginning of the broadcast, I knew that there was going to be times that I had to overcome some adversity. I knew I was going to get hit with big shots, but I had to keep moving, keep my jab in his face, and that's what we did. I trust myself that whatever I put myself into out there, whatever positions we get into, I'll be able to pull out, and I'll be able to get the upper hand advantage, and you know, I believe in me.
This was the moment Poirier really felt like he hit his stride. He got a rematch against Eddie Alvarez that same year, where he absolutely teed off on Eddie's face, leaving him unrecognizable. And he followed that win with a decision victory against a much more evolved Max Holloway. It was an all-out war where Dustin delivered some of the most insane strikes of his career, and the win resulted in him securing the UFC's interim lightweight title.
Fighter
and although
ever
the
to
belt was
exist,
wrapped around his waist,
put his fucking armor on his neck. Put him fucking
Scrubbing bubbles
doesn't make a fighter a true champion. You see, Dustin went on a legendary winning streak against the best fighters the lightweight division had to offer, all while in their primes. Because of this, he was solidified as the people's champion. But the actual champion at the time was Khabib Nurmagomedov. But Khabib was unable to fight due to the NSAC suspending him after he jumped out of the cage post-finishing Conor McGregor and attacking Dylan Dennis in the crowd. The interim belt was created so that weight classes can remain active and fighters can strive for glory in case the actual champion can't defend their McGregor and attacking Dylan Dennis in the crowd. After he jumped out of the Khabib was unable to fight due to the NSAC suspending him after he jumped out of the cage post-finishing Conor McGregor and attacking Dylan Dennis in the crowd. The interim belt was created so that weight classes can remain active and fighters can strive for glory in case the actual champion can't defend their belt. Luckily for Dustin, Khabib's suspension was about to get lifted and he would finally get the opportunity to earn the belt the legit way, facing the most challenging opponent of his career.
When you look at him as an opponent, what do you see from Dustin Poirier against you?
Long time I follow him. He have very good background. He have good ground game.
You knocked me out,
He have good striking game. You know, like versus me, I think I have to maul him.
That shit still
like I do with everybody.
Khabib was undefeated with a 27-0 record and never spilled a drop of blood in the octagon.
Never.
And his success can be attributed to his and never spilled a
in the sport where blood is a automatic thing. In 27 fights, the greatest fighter of all time never experienced it.
A drop of blood in the octagon, and his success can be attributed to his bear-like ability to bring opponents to the floor and crush them into submission. Now sure, Dustin was on a meteoric win streak and his additional BJJ training to black belt made him a much better grappler than he was at the start of his career. But in order to beat Khabib and take the lightweight belt, he'd really have to avoid being on the ground and strike harder and faster than before. But when they stepped in the octagon, it was simply a massacre. Khabib exhausted Poirier just like he had predicted. Dustin spent a majority of the match impressively spinning out of his grapples, but inevitably would be trapped only seconds later. Ultimately, Khabib held on to the title and Dustin was absolutely crushed, even though his performance against Khabib compared to other fighters was pretty good.
When I heard him, maybe in the back of my head, the takedown was, I felt like I couldn't get anything going with my stand-up. He's very awkward, one punch at a time, or him dipping and throwing a knee. I felt like the way he was pulling back, it was hard for me to set up my combinations and get into a rhythm. You know,
keep the fucking camera still. You're gonna make me get my aneurysm.
I was just so prepared, you know, for tonight. This one really hurts.
I have a fucking seizure. Keep the fucking keep the damn camera.
Dustin was likely crying because deep down he probably knew he could not beat Khabib even if he got another chance. Everyone in the division felt that way, but he also knew that this could have been his last opportunity to become a true champion. Then again, he was 30 years old and retirement was not even remotely considered an option. He rebounded quickly, winning a fight against Dan Hooker, and then got the call to get revenge on the man who
he should have went more depth into that, because I really think that fight against Dan took something out of both of them.
Quickly, winning a fight against Dan Hooker, and then got the call to get revenge on the man who derailed his career the first time, Conor McGregor. What was so interesting about this fight was that Dustin and Conor were both in the exact same position. They both went on legendary win streaks only to get absolutely destroyed by Khabib. Then they both bounced back from that loss with a win against a UFC journeyman. They were both humbled, Conor especially, which is why during the build-up there wasn't much trash talk or typical Conor antics.
Many years ago, he was fighting, became champion. He's given so much back. I'm honored to share this octagon with this man. I know we have this competitive fire, and it's going to be a good firework-filled bout. But the respect is admirable for this man from me.
Don't want to make it seem like we're up here giving each other back massages, but Conor's, I just want to clear the air. Conor's team, McGregor Sports Entertainment, did reach out to my foundation, and they are, starting the donation to the Good Fight Foundation, and we have huge plans for that. So Conor, man to man.
Pleasure, brother. My pleasure. Thank you.
You're going to help a lot of people with that.
Yes, and you.
Previously, Conor's mental games were a major part of why he was able to be so dominant, so this calm approach only benefited Dustin.
He fled the country.
Just it being a little bit more calm for me was smooth sailing, man.
And with Dustin able to just focus on his game, he was able to destroy Conor just as badly as Khabib did. Poirier chipped away at Conor's front leg with brutal calf kicks. This hurt his mobility, which left his face wide open. Dustin let his heavy hands fly and became the first opponent to ever TKO Conor in the UFC. And in a way, beating Conor was bigger than a championship. This matchup still remains the 7th highest grossing, aka most popular pay-per-view event in history across all sports. Dustin's fame reached most popular pay-per-view.
Yeah, Mayweather and Pacquiao was 4 million buys. Mayweather and McGregor 4.3. Damn, all of them are Mayweather, and somehow Mayweather is still in debt.
Event in history across all sports. Dustin's fame reached new heights, and he proved to the world that McGregor's dominance was over. Obviously, Conor felt otherwise, which is why he demanded a rematch just 6 months later. And this time around, McGregor tried to bring back all of his old mental games.
Nah, straight business.
This might get stuck in your
head.
What
did you say, McGregor asleep? Please tell me.
Your wife is your husband. You're only a little of a thing, a silly little hillbilly. Joe Lee's wife! Joe Lee's wife! Joe Lee's wife! You little thing.
Conor probably should have tried this energy for the previous fight, because now Dustin had much more confidence and knew he could beat Conor.
Conor, in the build to the last fight, you were unusually kind to Dustin. Now,
brother, like, when your shit combined like that, game.
on fight week, it's the exact opposite. So when did that switch happen?
Because he got knocked the out.
Because he got knocked.
Not McGregor fast, McGregor sleep.
Yeah, he put it in the video. That's my favorite one.
The rivalry between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor could have been an actual movie. In the first half of the first round, Conor looked poised, controlled, and the crowd was on his side. But after a risky guillotine attempt, Poirier was bashing his face in on the ground. It was one of the most exciting first rounds in UFC history, letting fans know they were about to watch an all-out war. But with a few seconds left in the first round, Conor suffered a freak injury where his leg literally snapped in half, making him unable to continue the fight and leaving Poirier the winner once again. Now, there were a lot of things that contributed to Conor McGregor's downfall, but this one really broke him and damaged his reputation in a pretty humiliating way. In his post-fight interview, Conor verbally attacked Dustin and his wife.
This is not over. If we have to take this outside with him, it's all outside. We don't give a. Your wife is in me DMs, hey baby. Hit me back on my chat later on. We'll be at the after party, the Win nightclub, baby. You looking bitch, you little.
For Conor, this was a new low, disrespecting his own wife while trashing another man's wife, only to be carried out in a stretcher. And in case you were curious, the direct message from Poirier's wife to Conor was revealed to be nothing more than just a message request, so nobody knows what it actually said. Now for Dustin, defeating Conor twice was definitely an amazing milestone, and even though McGregor fans would heavily contest this, he wasn't exactly a top contender. So for Dustin, being 32 years old, these wins didn't exactly prove to people that he was going to be the champion. On top of that, Dustin's wife Jolie made him promise that at the age of 18 that he would stop fighting and retire at 35. He said, "I want to be there for my family for the long run. I want to watch my daughter get married and always be there for her, not just physically but mentally too. I want to leave with my faculties. This isn't good for you. Getting kicked and kneed and punched in the head for 18 years isn't good for you." Every fighter is very aware of the looming threat of irreparable damage to their brains, which can lead to chronic traumatic encephalopathy or CTE. This condition,
I think that was when at Venom Page
from the cutting, bruising, and head trauma among top-heavy fighters leads to impulsive and violent behavior, more memory loss, sleep deprivation, and sometimes a complete change in personality that can come and go without warning. The most vicious.
Yeah. Look at that fucking skull, mate! Oh my god! Ooh, it was like a fucking falcon kick, bro. That was a falcon knee, bro. This is just a skull done game. Yo, what do you do when that happens?
Wow!
What do you do, bro? When your skull is caved in? No way, bro. Cracked his skull. Then proceeded to, bro, I would kill myself. No bullshit. If a nigga knocked me out and then...
Which part about CTE is that the only way it can truly be diagnosed is by examining a deep part of the brain that doctors can only reach until after the person dies. So you'll never know until it's too possible to leave. MMA legends like Chuck Liddell have been pretty vocal about how the routine of fighting allowed him to avoid handling all the problems in his real life.
I miss the whole process of being a fighter. Going to training camp, being able, going into training camp, because it was like you got to shut off the rest of your world. I mean, I got to be in my own world. I like to be, well, not really shut off, but you're able to not worry. Like I didn't worry about it. I just, everyone knew I had one job. I get ready for this fight, get ready for the fight. And if they got other stresses or other problems, they'll save it. If they can save it, if it can wait, they'll wait till after the fight to talk to me about it. Right. You know, so you have that kind of grace, and then you got to go hang out with the guys, you know, a couple times a day, and you know, I got the routines you got into, and it was just I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed training. I like fighting. I like learning. I loved martial arts when I was a kid.
Basically, the longer you're in the octagon, the harder it is to leave it. And the harder it is to leave it, the more you're willing to keep going until it's too late to recover. And this was about to become Dustin's reality. The end of his career should have to hang up the gloves. From 2021 onward, Dustin Poirier went on a streak of exciting fights, but it made fans realize he was definitely past his prime. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match with Charles Oliveira was impressive, but ended in a rear naked choke, causing him to miss a chance at the lightweight title once again. He'd bounce back by using the same move that finished him against Oliveira to beat Michael Chandler, but then suffered a brutal head kick knockout in a rematch against Justin Gaethje. That blow was so severe that many believe it left permanent damage to Poirier's brain. This fight was also for the BMF belt, which stands for baddest motherfucker. Unlike official UFC championship belts, the BMF title is more about respect and recognition than rankings. It's for fighters who bring excitement, aggression, and pure entertainment to the octagon. So the fact that Dustin never secured a real championship belt and now like couldn't even get the BMF title just made this loss sting even more. Dustin said that after this fight was the darkest moment of his life.
That was probably like one of the lowest points of my life, you know. I really felt down. I don't think I like pinpointed what really brought me down. Obviously getting kicked in the head wasn't good. I worked so hard to like build myself up and be successful and have a career, and fighting's tough, you know. And I feel like I've got myself to a point where I'm respected by my peers in fighting and stuff like that. And I feel like when I got home from that loss, it was like the world was just gonna throw me away. Remember when I texted you that? That's how I felt. And one night you feel like, boom, everybody's throwing you away now, you know, like everything I've done before that feels like it doesn't matter. You know, it just sucks. It was like a bad place to be in myself, you know. Waking up every morning, I was just not happy.
Sadly, what Poirier was experiencing was extremely common amongst fighters. He was just one of the few that was willing to talk about it. Another ex-MMA fighter, Uriah Hall, has been outspoken about how the greatest pain wasn't from any trauma in the ring, but simply being forced to leave.
You know, after leaving MMA, man, I fell into a really deep hole. If I can talk about it, I fell into a deep depression. A lot of athletes, when you do something for so long, that's what you identify as, you know.
I was
and
so
I spent
high
the last 20 years of my life committing myself, my soul to one attribute, and then all of a sudden it's gone, it's taken away. So it was some really dark,
so
passive. I mean, when I say I
he didn't
felt
become
depressed,
like a murderer.
I even at one point looked at my firearm like, wait a minute, I can go down a really dark path if I don't get out of this.
Uriah was not alone in his feelings. Pro boxer Ricky Hatton discussed the triumphs and pitfalls of fighting and the post-career bouts of depression that eventually led to him taking his own life.
Fill out the Manchester Arena to be seeing your name up in lights in Las Vegas, Nolan Liam Gallagher, Oasis, carrying your belts in. And once that dream is over, once you've used and you've experienced that high of being so loved by so many people, and you know, and winning world titles, and people walking down the street, oh, there's Ricky walking down Las Vegas, there's Ricky, and you know, once that's gone, it's a very hard thing to come back down to earth to.
When you listen to these fighters, it's almost like they're giving up on a drug rather than a professional sport. The adrenaline from literally fighting for a knockout is so powerful that it almost seems to cut your personality in half. But it doesn't just happen to those who haven't won.
I know the art of fight, I know the art of war. That's all I ever studied.
I'm sorry.
That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring. Because that's all I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing. I'm working on feeling the art of humbleness. Can you believe in me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss them. Because sometimes I feel like a bitch. Because I don't want that person to come out, because if he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just I hate that guy. I'm scared of him.
It seems like the only way Tyson can cope with the man he is versus the man he used to be is by convincing himself that none of it ever mattered.
Look at this stuff. This is history here. You're history.
This is garbage. I can say I bled for garbage.
So this is meaningless?
No, at one time it meant a lot. When you're just a young kid, this is everything to you. But then you realize your priorities change. And you just want your children to be happy and do nice things, and that makes you happy. This is nothing. This is just nothing, man.
Dustin learned what other fighters were struggling with, and he knew he needed to focus on his mental health a little more.
Honestly, bro, I'm a danger to myself when I'm having nothing. No goal circled on my calendar, I'm a danger to myself, man. I'm home, I drink, it's just not good. I have to have some kind of battle.
He revealed that he actually took the next fight against Benoit Saint-Denis because he felt that not fighting was destroying him more.
Like we were talking about earlier, I think having a name, having a date to circle on my calendar kind of put me in the right direction mentally. It really drowned out all the idleness of sitting at home or overthinking. You know, I had such a big challenge in front of me that's all I focused on. Everything else like blinders. That's how fighting is for me.
Is that part of the reasons why you also took that fight, you think? Because you're like...
Yeah, it just happened. They called where I was in the spot of my life, like, and mentally in a place where whatever name they called with, I would say yes. I just needed a challenge, you know, because I needed to be at war with something else besides myself, because I was fighting myself every day.
Poirier would end up winning this fight with a stellar knockout that put him in a very interesting position. Physically, he was certainly past his prime, but his reputation had never been stronger. After years of wars inside the octagon, he'd become one of the most respected fighters on the roster, a future Hall of Famer who had beaten some of the biggest names in UFC history, but he was still missing that undisputed championship title. And with Islam Makhachev having already cleared out the entire lightweight division, Poirier had quietly become one of the only legitimate contenders he had left to fight. Even though fight fans low-key knew Dustin was not going to win, the UFC giving him a shot felt like a sign of respect. But more importantly, it gave Dustin one more chance to postpone the question he'd been trying to avoid. What am I gonna do besides fight? His performance against Islam was just another example of why people love Dustin so much. You can just never count him out. His takedown defense was incredible, and he nearly went the distance. There were plenty of moments in this fight where it looked like he could win, but ultimately he lost by submission via a Darce choke, and him being so close to victory made it harder for him to fully confirm if he would retire or not.
I mean, I know I could compete with the best of these guys. It's just like, if I do fight again, what am I fighting for? Just to fight? It has to. I've done that 50 times. I got a little girl I love, and I gotta see. I think this could be it, honestly, Joe.
The thing is, Dustin was straight up scared to retire because he thought his life would become meaningless.
The life that I lived at a young age, like the dopamine and all the endorphins and the rushes, I've been so high on top of the world, like after knocking Conor out, after winning my first UFC fight, after making my first this much amount, like so high that when I come back down and I fly back home to Louisiana, it's like nothing gets me excited. Like I'm just scared of that. Like when I put the gloves down, hopefully here in New Orleans in the summer, and never fight again, I'm never gonna feel that again. Right. Like, what is going to get me excited?
And so he decided to take on another fight against Max Holloway. Max was also near the end of his career, and this was being touted as one last match between two badass lightweight legends. Dustin said before the big fight, "It's not something I thought about when I was a young kid in my early 20s or mid-20s. It's something that as I got older in the sport, I started realizing things and noticing things and doing my research and just growing up and realizing this isn't good for you. I'm not saying don't become a fighter, I'm just saying ring, take care of yourself. The fight against Holloway was the fitting end to a legendary career. Holloway had some nasty strikes at the start that put Dustin on the ground, but the Diamond bounced back, nearly knocking Holloway out and trying to finish him off with a guillotine. The back and forth was incredible to watch, but Dustin would ultimately lose by decision, and now he is trying to respect his original promise and officially retire from fighting at 36 years old.
That's where I'm at right now, like leaving fighting in the rear view.
You got
like,
the
what do I do
veneers
with my life? Every day I would wake up for the last 20 years. How can I be a better fighter? I want to be the champion, and then boom, you lay the gloves down and you wake up and you're a civilian. It's like I'm relearning who I am. Like I always knew fighting was just something I did. It wasn't who I was. Even though you know that and you think that, like I don't know who I am without fighting. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a lot of things. Right. But like fighting was a cloud in my mind that never went away for 20 years. And now I wake up and it's gone. Like what do I do? I'm still trying to find out, Joe. I don't know.
But even with therapy and keeping himself busy with gigs, it was only a matter of time where Dustin would have to face the deafening silence of retirement. He went from drinking for social occasions to drinking whenever he felt a need to distract himself at home. He felt aimless, and on Father's Day, June 21st, 2026, after saying goodbye to Jolie and his daughter, Poirier would arrive for a flight for business completely wasted. After being denied access to the plane, law enforcement arrived to the scene to find Poirier in a state that didn't match his own personality, and he's insanely lucky that the cop who arrived on scene knew who he was and de-escalated the situation flawlessly.
He didn't want to get, no, it wasn't that. He didn't want to get his ass whooped, bro.
What's up?
Bro, relax.
You want to fight?
You want to fight?
Wait, to start several you.
You want to defeat
No,
that.
it's not going to fight something.
Radio to 3710.
Boy, you...
Bro, relax, bro. Relax, bro.
You going to take it?
Relax.
Bro, I'm going to bang you up.
Bro, relax.
Give me a good one.
Just relax.
Give me a good one.
Yo. They kicked him off the flight. This guy's a UFC fighter. You know.
What's going on, bro? Talk to me.
Man, the bitch is lying hoes, man. Let's go. Arrest me. Let's go. Let's go. Arrest me.
It was gonna be bad, my nigga.
Hey, pound it.
All right, man.
Now you did a great job, bro. You did a great job.
While the incident went viral on social media, mostly for him saying the N-word, being memed to an acronym IGBBMN, the big picture surrounding this is deeply depressing because it shows that he was slowly losing the inner battle he had been dealing with his whole life. Dustin was arrested and charged with misdemeanor public drunkenness, but quickly posted bail and didn't spend that much time away from the public eye, probably because staying busy doing podcasts and talk shows is what prevents him from slipping up again. After a short hiatus, he posts to Instagram, "Working on myself. I appreciate every single one of you that has reached out to me. I will be better because of all of this. I promise you." Then he sat down on the Diary of a CEO podcast to look back on his life, amazing career, and possible consequences of his actions. And unlike other people who would probably blame it all on their childhood trauma, Dustin owned his mistakes and desired nothing more than to put it all behind him.
And when I feel like that, I know I shouldn't drink. And I drank anyway, so, you know, not that my father or anything's an excuse. Obviously, I did what I did. But I knew better in the moment when I'm feeling like that to drink or do anything. You know, alcohol has never benefited me, especially in times like that where I'm mentally not the best.
Because the situation was alcohol related, Dustin's sponsors are starting to flee to avoid any backlash.
It's kind of murky right now. I think it's still too fresh. I know one big one isn't a sponsor anymore.
Oh, you lost a sponsor?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I lost a few. I'm waiting to see when the smoke clears who's still with me or not. That day cost me not only embarrassment to my family, it cost me a lot of money too, you know? I'm losing sponsors, I'm losing gigs, and losing things that I had set up.
The sponsor Dustin is likely referring to is Bud Light, who terminated his contract immediately, which prompted another fighter, Sean Strickland, to come to his defense by opening up a discussion about alcohol abuse and the hypocrisy of corporations.
And there's so many Americans that drink this, and they love life. They go play catch with their son, and I love that. But sadly, that's not the case. A lot of Americans are f***ed up. They don't have to go to the dealer on the corner. They could just walk into the supermarket and buy as many of these as they want. But what made me so mad is just, you know, talking to Dustin and hearing things through the grapevine. I heard that Bud Light might let Dustin go. And let me tell you, that is the most un-American thing you can do. You spent $6 billion creating an addict, creating someone that wants to grab this every time he's having a bad day and bring out the worst in him. And in his lowest time, you're contemplating letting him go. That is the most un-American thing you could do. Bud Light, if you want to represent America, you stand by him and you help him.
The truth is, losing a sponsor, specifically an alcohol sponsor, isn't the biggest concern for Dustin right now. If anything, he's more concerned about how this has damaged his relationship with his wife and kids. While missing out on that money is costly, the real struggle is finding purpose after the one thing that drove you is gone.
Some days I wake up and I feel like I made the right decision, you know? I need to be home, I need to be doing things around the house. I need to be here every day with my kids, making them breakfast. And then some days I wake up and I'm like, what the f am I doing? I can beat all these guys still. You know, I can still beat these guys, but I don't know if that ever leaves. I might be 60-year-old having coffee one day saying the same thing. I could beat these guys. I don't know if that's just a competitive spirit. I don't know if that's just fighting your whole life. I don't know, but these top guys that are winning now and fighting now on these upcoming cards, I can beat them still. I know I can.
And this might be the most troubling part of the story. While Dustin vowed to stop professionally fighting in the UFC as a lightweight, he definitely has that same bug that other great fighters can't seem to escape. That even though they are aging and well past their primes, they still have that desire to return to fighting.
The way he looked in his last fight, it's like I'm picking on somebody. I'm trying to come back and get a payday and get an easy win. He looked like, you know?
Would you want to fight him in MMA or would you want to box him?
I've always wanted to box. I'll either.
And now with Zuffa,
they don't want any crossover.
Yeah, but you'd love that, wouldn't you? To have a little bit of a go at boxing.
I would love to.
That's what you.
I started my martial arts journey. I was boxing before anything, before jiu-jitsu, before anything. I would love to.
We need to make it happen, man.
Dude, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's start. Let's go talk to the UFC right now. Give me a date. Give me a date, I'll get off the peptides and I'll beat Nate's
Dustin only won 4 out of his last 14 rounds of fighting. The concussion from Justin really impacted his brain, and then he took 10 more rounds of damage after that fight. If he comes back to...
That is a crazy stat. 4 out of 14 rounds? 10 more rounds of damage after that fight.
Any sport that involves headshots, he is putting his family at greater risk of encountering CTE-related mood swings and personality effects. I can beat these guys. 4 out of 14 rounds. He should not try to beat any guys. Today, Dustin has been tracking his sobriety and announcing to the world that he is never drinking alcohol again, and he has been thoroughly apologetic for his behavior.
If I'm advertising something I'm not going to be taking part in and promoting stuff that, you know, it's just, it is what it is.
Sure. You don't want to be you don't want to be sitting here saying I don't drink and then being in a commercial for something that you're not using, basically.
Right, and I don't have a problem with people. There's plenty of people out there who do drink responsibly.
Sure.
I'm not one. So if you can drink responsibly, have fun. Drink a Bud Light, drink a whatever the hell you want. Be responsible, have a good time.
While much of the discussion is surrounding Dustin Poirier's words or relationship with alcohol, I think they're missing the much bigger picture here. For decades, fighting wasn't just his passion. It was how he found purpose, coped with pain, measured his self-worth, and built a life for his family. That's an incredibly difficult thing to walk away from. We often think of addiction as something that comes in a bottle or a syringe, but maybe that's too narrow of a definition. Maybe it's anything that rewires your brain until life without it feels empty, and there are very few experiences on Earth more intense than walking into an arena with thousands of people watching, knowing that another human being is trying to literally rip your head off. Dustin spent years defeating some of the toughest fighters on the planet, but like so many legends before him, the hardest opponent was never standing across the cage. It was the version of himself that couldn't imagine life without an upcoming fight. And how he chooses to deal with this inner battle going forward will determine if it's going to be good or if it's going to be bad, my friend. Knowing when to put the gloves down is not unique to Dustin, or if it's going to be bad, my friend. Knowing when to put the gloves down is not unique to Dustin. The same thing happened to Floyd Mayweather, but mostly because he desperately needed the money, which
watched that already. W vid, Patrick.